one of the things that I recommend to people is, especially in the early days, is take your phone out and every day just make a video of yourself. Don't worry about what you look like, where you are, how you're feeling, happy, mad, glad, sad. Like, just pull out your phone and smile and then hit record, because the first second of the frame is what you see when you post your videos. So smile first.
Yeah.
Wait a second. And just talk to yourself. And don't worry about how long you talk to yourself. Just have a conversation with yourself. And if you're really uncomfortable staring at yourself on the screen, flip your phone over to the side where there's nothing but the little lens, right?
Yep.
Because that's where your tribe is. That's where you connect with
exactly.
people.
In this episode, we get to speak with Brian Schulman. He's the founder and CEO of Voice Your Vibe, Forbes Featured Entrepreneur, LinkedIn Top Voice 2018, an advisor, board member, and a speaker. He has been helping enterprise clients solve complex business problems for 21 years, whom then achieve goals with cutting-edge digital marketing solutions through extensive needs analysis and a consultative sales approach. He helped countless companies across a variety of industries and business models optimize and enhance their online strategy. Let's learn how he was able to help huge companies by providing his extraordinary marketing solution. Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life who want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. Thank you, Brian, for coming on to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm honored to be with you.
So we were talking in the green room about technology, about shooting video, and how Brian's been doing some really amazing stuff. And it all started with curiosity. Am I right? Like, what's this gonna do? You just get in.
It's a funny story, right? Because I've been on LinkedIn every day for 16 and a half years. And I was part of the beta program, being a pioneer of LinkedIn Video, as well as LinkedIn Live. But LinkedIn Video, it was June of 2017 when it launched in alpha. And I saw it pop up on my phone. I saw the little video icon, and I immediately was like, there's absolutely no way that I'm getting on camera. Because the first thing in my mind was, what if my Tourette's come out? So just like, I guess, some backstory for everybody. I was a pound and a half miracle baby in the 70s that wasn't supposed to live. And so I literally fought for every breath just to make it into the world. And then add another monkey wrench into the equation, I got diagnosed with a neurological disorder preteen called Tourette's syndrome, which are uncontrollable tics and twitches. And the thing with Tourette's is you don't know you have them, or you're not aware that you're doing them, and you can't control them.
Got it.
So in the height of my Tourette's days, and I still have Tourette's, but most people wouldn't even know it, because it's so minute compared to when I was a kid, where I'd be somersaulting from room to room, jumping up and down, these intense neck twitches and wrist flicking and auditory noises and facial expressions, and a lot of times they'd commingle.
Yeah.
So the thing about the Tourette's is that nobody in the business world knew that. Okay, I've been building and growing startups for over 20 years, and in the tech space. And it wasn't something that I ever felt a need for anyone to be aware of, because I didn't look at being weird and different as a good thing in my head for me, right? But so that video icon pops up, right? And I'm like, no, I can't do that. And I sat on it for 5 months.
Oh, wow.
To muster up the bravery and courage to finally take the leap. And so it was about November. Now, when video launched, there was this Let's Get Honest campaign that launched at the same time. And so what it was people sharing real stories from their life that nobody was aware of. Like, let's get honest, right? Telling people these incredible parts from their heart. And it was so, and by the way, like, it broke LinkedIn for the good forever. This campaign and LinkedIn video, because it was human with a heartbeat for the very first time.
Yeah.
And for the good, right? For the good. I mean, I loved LinkedIn coming up to that point, but this time it truly became human. And it was so inspiring hearing the stories that were shared about agoraphobia, speech impediments, rape. I mean, really intense, gut-wrenching stories, right?
Yeah.
And it was so inspiring because it was so human and it was so authentic and it was so raw and emotional.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to do this and I need to share my story with the world for the first time. And when I did, it was in front of, at that time, 500 million people. And I was terrified, totally terrified. Now, not let alone being terrified, I didn't have any idea what I was doing, how to do it. I reached out to my friend Amy Blaschka, who's a fellow creator and my twin, as I call her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Amy, you've been making some videos, like help a brother out. Like how do I do this? Like literally how? Like what are you using technologically? And she's like, well, yeah, I'm using this app called Clips because I'm an iPhone guy. And we were talking about technology, and I've had iPhones since the very beginning, coming off Crackberry. And so she's like, well, you can download this app. It's free. It's easy to use. Here's a quick link. It's like a minute video tutorial. You'll be fine. So I'm getting ready to go on a business trip for 4 days. And I had been called out by my friend Goldie Chan, who's a fellow creator on the platform. And she's like, jump in. And so the funny thing about it is I had it on my phone, but every time I updated my app, it would disappear and reappear, the little icon. And I had this internal battle with myself, by the way, which is like, oh, I got to do it. No, I can't do it. Oh, I got to do it. No, I can't do it. And this happened for months, right? Mm-hmm. And so finally I got it back on and I sit down, and so I got the tutorial, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I sat in front of my desk in my office. I had just packed my bag. I was going to have no time to do any videos. And what I was called out for in collaboration was this #5videos campaign. Now, again, this was years ago, and what it was about make 5 videos, 1 video a day, 5 in a row. So talk about throwing yourself in the deep end. It's not just like make a video. It's make one and post one every day. And so I made that first video and I shared that life story that no one on LinkedIn had ever heard before. Mm-hmm. No one in my world of business had ever heard before. No one at my company had ever heard before. So I was really nervous about it. And I made it. And just like most people, when you make your first video, it's like you make it and you run for the hills. It's just like, I'm not going on LinkedIn for a long time now because I don't want to know. And so, but I went back and I looked, and all the love and support and encouragement, which are words that you never think you would hear on a platform like LinkedIn, because most people look at LinkedIn in the scheme of 675 million people as a business networking platform where you have a digital resume and look for a job. Mm-hmm. But it's an engagement platform. Yeah. And so it was the first time, Janae, it was the first time that I didn't look at myself as weird and different in a bad way. And that I actually was fully me, because I had shared this part of myself that I kept internalized, but I realized that it wasn't, well, one, that I had a voice and that I had a story and that it mattered, but it wasn't about me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the story was about me, but the intention was not. It was, I wanted to share the story with the hopes to inspire someone, because I think that's the part that's really hard for most people when it comes to video is you're like, no, I don't want to talk about myself, and that's just weird. And I get that because I went through all that. But it's, if you realize that by sharing your story, it's for other people. They don't have to go through what you went through. And I realized that. I'm like, oh, this isn't about me. This is me sharing my story, but with the hopes that it'll inspire someone, because that's my why. My why is to inspire one person a day. And so much incredible feedback I got from people. So many people saying they were so inspired, and just their hearts and everything. And it was amazing. And So I wound up making those other 4 videos, 3 of them on my trip at like
Yeah.
12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I changed my clothes to make 2 videos in the same night. I mean, this is how, and this is what happens. You get in your head. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And made the last one when I got home. And I remember reaching out to Goldie and a few other folks. And I'm like, okay, this is so awkward and uncomfortable. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And this is just really painful. Like, when does this get easier? And I remember Goldie had said, around your 20th video, you'll feel a little bit less uncomfortable. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I have to make 20 videos to feel a little bit less uncomfortable? Like, come on. But being a numbers guy, I'm like, okay, well, I've got a number now. I know I have to make 20 and okay. And I remember making the 20th. And I remember it was behind the scenes at my son, it was a jazz musician at the time. And they were in a parade with his fellow jazz band mates from school. And I remember shooting the video and there's like horses walking by me. And, it's like a parade, all the things you'd expect to see. And I remember thanking a bunch of people. And I remember thinking to myself, hey, this is 20. I feel a little bit less uncomfortable. And so that was like the beginning of the journey. And I had to learn so much, and I equated it in my head to like every startup I help build and grow. Don't know where it's going to go. Don't know what we're doing, but we're going to do it anyway. And we're going to fall and fail along the way, but we'll just keep up and going and just, rinse and repeat.
Exactly.
And I didn't want to look back and go, what if I didn't, what if I didn't want to do that? So I figured, well, what's the worst thing that happens here? I learn, I grow, and I lose some time, but I don't lose anything because I learn and I grow. So I always say you never lose, you either win or you learn, and you always learn, so you always win. And so what we were talking about in the green room was the fact that like I'd spend thousands of hours learning everything because I had to learn the apps because I didn't even realize those were there. And I had to learn apps and editing and psychologically, technologically, emotionally, physically, all the things that you go through. Because the reality is, taking a phone, which is I've made almost 700 videos all on my phone with purpose, putting a phone in front of your face and staring at yourself is really daunting.
It is.
It's scary, but the more you do it, right, the more comfortable you get being uncomfortable. And all these little things that you learn along the way, it's been an amazing journey. And I specifically had made them all with my phone because I wanted people to truly understand, anyone that I had come across along the way, fellow creators or whoever, that, well, one, if I can do it, literally anyone can do it. And two, you can come up with all the excuses in the world why not and why you can't. Again, and I did that. But all you need is you and your smile and your voice and your phone. That's it. Like you don't need all the gadgets. I mean, I'm almost 700 videos in, and all I have is, I did get a selfie stick because I have short arms and I love collaborating with people. So it allows me to get everyone in view.
Yeah.
But I never use, I never use a mic. Like I use the mic out of my phone. And again, I've gotten some fun gadgets along the way just because I kind of geek out about technology. Not like you. I mean, your setup's amazing, but I wanted people to truly just understand that you just have to start.
Yeah.
And remember that every day is day one when you do it, and just take the leap, because you, like me, I don't want you to sit there and go, what if, because it's changed my life, Sinead. It has changed my life. My taking the leap to do that, the things that have happened to me over the last couple of years, I never would have started my company, which is 2 years old this month. I never would have been flown by a brand that sponsored my trip to go and do a keynote in Australia. I never would be a Forbes featured entrepreneur. I never would have live shows. All of these I never would have, right, if I didn't take the leap and if I didn't keep going. Because the reality is we're always going to have moments where we sit there and go, oh God, that was horrible. It just happened to me. I literally just had 116th episode of What's Good Wednesday, one of my live shows. Yesterday, we did, for the very first time, we broadcast on 7 destinations.
Nice.
And it was awesome. But it was a quiet day. so my shows, I love to bring people on from the comments that are watching as guests.
Yeah.
It's really unique. And usually we get a bunch of people that jump on. And it was kind of crickets for a while. Now my producer and I, Tim, we have a good gab back and forth together, and we make it fun, and we do a lot of things that are really unique, using snap filters and things like that. And it was quiet, and we had no problem stringing along and such. And we had a bunch of guests that wound up coming on, but I don't know. I just didn't feel in my groove, to be totally frank. And I'm like, all right, we'll just keep going. It's all good, And I watched it back in replay today, and I was laughing so hard, like it was so funny. And I realized that a lot. I'll look at things back in reflection, and whether it's a video recorded and you post, or whether it's live, it happens to us a lot. It doesn't matter where in your journey you are; it'll happen. And I think the thing is to remember that even when you have those moments where you're like, "Oh, that sucked," or "I don't feel like that was good," or whatever, it's okay. Like that's part of the journey. You grow in you got to do it, right?
You got to do it. No, absolutely. You're on point, man. It's so what I get from it is, it's like when a child, first tries to walk, right? They're like, oh, this is hard. Then they go back to crawling, right? Yeah. But then they take the leap, like, all right, no, I have got to figure out how to walk, because my sister, my brothers and sisters, they're running. I want to do that, right? So that's that learning, the psychology and all that stuff comes in when you created those 5 first videos.
Yeah, well, it's so many more in my case. Like it took a lot longer than that for me, if I'm being honest. Like it took a lot longer for me to kind of find a groove that, even though I was uncomfortable, just kind of getting into that motion to you're describing, right? And I so can relate to that, because I remember that time with my kids. And it's like anything, anything that you want to do. And we're always looking at someone else who's doing it like the best, like they're incredible. Better, and you're like, no, I want to be where they are, right? And you're like, but you got to take the steps. There's no shortcut. You got to just go through the motions. And and the time that it takes is going to be different for everybody. Yeah. Your journey. And I remember comparing myself so many times along the way, and I'm like, why is it taking me so long? And the reality is it's long in our head, but and by the way, those people that are the best, and you're like, I want to be like them, like, learn from those people. You take something away from everyone, no matter where they are in their journey. You take something away from everyone that you encounter along your way in your journey. And it's meant to happen, and it's part of the experience, and it's part of the fun. You don't know it at the time. But I will tell you, like, when you do have those moments where you're really uncomfortable and you're like, I can't do this. Like, this sucks. Just know, imagine me in your head, like, like Dumbo and the little mouse. Like, imagine me in your head going, no, this is supposed to happen. And oh, by the way, like, you're growing a lot right now. So just keep going and keep growing, and you'll look back and go, wow, that was a huge inflection point in my journey. I didn't even realize it at the time because I was so busy going, this sucks. This is so hard, right? But you keep going, and when you keep going, and that's the part, that's with anything, if you just keep taking the steps, every little step matters. And by doing that, that's how you win. Yes. It's not big strides. It's not big. Yes, take the leaps, but it's those small ones that are the biggest ones. It's the small ones that are the hardest ones, because you have to take them. Right. But you battle with yourself about doing it. So
you got to go through the levels. You can't get to the, you can't rescue the queen till you go through the 10 levels, Mario Brothers.
That's right. That's right. Right. That's right. Or Zelda or whatever, right? Yeah, Zelda, you got to go through each phase. Yes. To get to the next. And the thing is too, it's really natural for us to look ahead and go, I want to save the queen. I want to get the gold. I want to, whatever it is. Yeah. And it's also easy for us to always be keeping our eyes on that prize. I think the thing is that's not the prize. The prize is the journey and the steps you're taking through it. And it's so easy to forget that. I still do that. I still wind up in moments where I'm looking at something off in the distance and going, no, I gotta get there. I want to get there. And I have to level set myself and go, but stop. Like, remember, as you always say to everyone you've ever worked with, you celebrate every moment, even the ones where you're struggling. Those are the biggest ones to be celebrated, because those are the prize moments, because those are the moments that the cool part is. Those are the moments you go back and you look and you talk about, like we're doing, or you have a conversation with someone that's struggling, and you go, I remember this time, right? And it's the stories that you share, right? And those stories that inspire others to go, oh, okay, I get it. Like, okay, I can do it. If you could do it, I could do it, right? Or even more so, like, one of the things that I recommend to people is, especially in the early days, is take your phone out and every day just make a video of yourself. Don't worry about what you look like, where you are, how you're feeling, happy, mad, glad, sad. Like, just pull out your phone and smile and then hit record, because the first second of the frame is what you see when you post your video. So smile first. Wait a second. And just talk to yourself. And don't worry about how long you talk to yourself. Just have a conversation with yourself. And if you're really uncomfortable staring at yourself on the screen, flip your phone over to the side where there's nothing but the little lens, right? Because that's where your tribe is. That's where you connect with people. Exactly. But cut and paste a picture of somebody that makes you feel at ease and comfortable. It's your dog, it's your mom, it's your wife, it's your brother, it's your whoever, right? And put it there, and just do it that way. And don't worry about how long. Just talk to yourself until you're done. Now, there's two things this will do for you, and I always recommend doing it for 30 days. Every day, once a day for 30 days. Again, it doesn't matter what time you do it, but just making sure that you do it. Even if it's like right before you're about to go to sleep, you're like, oh, crap, I forgot to make my video. That's fine. Either get out of bed or don't. Just flip the light on and make it right there. Because, again, it's for you.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is you'll have moments along the way, like we talked about, where you're going to go, I can't. I want you to tell yourself that while you're taking that video. When you feel that moment, that's what you talk about. I'm making this video. I don't want to do this. I said I can't, but I'm doing it anyway. Okay, here I am. Like, it could be just as simple as that, right?
Yeah.
And there's going to be 3 or 4 times later, or however many times it is that it happens, and however far across it is that you go, I can't watch that video, or how many of those videos there were where you said you couldn't, realizing that you did and that you can again. The other part about it that's really cool is this video diary, right, becomes content for you.
Yeah.
Because at some point, you will sit there and go, wow, you look back and you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe where I am now. You know what? I want to post part of this because maybe that'll inspire someone else who felt the same way.
That's an excellent point. So I remember when I was driving, commuting to work, and what I did is, like, I'm going to set up this GoPro right above my steering wheel and just talk to myself.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm driving and I'm talking to myself, and I don't know half the stuff. I can't remember half the stuff that I talk about, but I just recorded it and I was like, all right, it's sitting somewhere now. So you gave me a really good point. You can go back to that footage, and there are going to be some nuggets, but because when you're talking to yourself, you're becoming self-aware, right? That self-awareness is something that we are taught. I don't know if you're taught, but over time, we stop paying attention to ourselves, to our mind, and start paying attention to everybody else and what they're saying about you. And when that happens, that's where all that negative talk comes out. Like, okay, what if they say this thing, right? So when you're talking to yourself, you're reassuring yourself that you have what it takes to do whatever you want to do, unless you're physically disabled.
No, it's true. And I think the other thing, too, is to remember that we are actually our own worst enemy. We are the ones that will knock ourselves down the most, that will degrade ourselves the most, that will talk us out of it the most, and that will tell us we can't the most. And so if you take it off of you, and that's why I always say the most important thing is knowing what your why is. You have to know your why when you start this journey.
Yeah.
Or I guess I should say, you'll discover your why in the journey too. if you know it ahead of time, great. Like I knew what my why was. When it came to LinkedIn video, it had nothing to do with business. I didn't want to talk about business. I'm on boards. I advise startups and founders. I'm co-founders of companies. I've been involved in lots of stuff. Right? I didn't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, like I could count probably on two hands the number of times out of almost 700 videos I've ever talked about business. Now, again, remember for me, I was terrified to do it. But I knew I had to do it. I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. I didn't know who I was, which is weird, right? You're like, well, wait, but you're you. Like, what do you mean you don't know who you are? Like I said, put the phone in front of your face, start making videos. You'll realize what I mean. It's finding you in your journey is actually an incredible thing. And that happened to me. It didn't happen right away. And I realized when I was comparing myself to people and all these things, I'm like, well, wait, no, I just need to be me. I got to be the same me I've always been showing up on LinkedIn, just not on video because it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And I had to let that out of me, right? And so that you'll find that in your journey, and you'll realize that you do have a voice and that you do have. So I want everyone who's listening to know that you have a voice and that you have a story and that you do matter, and that your voice and story has the ability and will positively affect, impact, and inspire another human being's life by sharing you and your story. And that's the other part that I think is really important no matter what platform you're on. I've been on the internet since it was green screen and chat rooms, learning how to type in my mom's lap. And like the evolution of technology of where we've come today in just a short period of time, I would say, is incredible.
Yeah.
Remember that showing up, right, that your vibe attracts your tribe. It's not about the numbers. It's not about the views. It's not about the likes. It's not about you showing up. It's about impact. Right. And if you realize that you will impact, whether you see it, hear it, they say it to you or not, there's going to be one person out there when you post that video that is going to be impacted and inspired by what you've shared. It will happen. And and I think if you keep that in the back of your mind, right. And don't get me wrong, it's really easy to get caught up in the numbers. It's happened to me so many times along the way. So many times. It's so easy.
Yeah.
But I think if you remember what I just said about it being about impact, and you remember that and why you're making these videos, right? Forget content and strategy and all that. That's a whole nother part of this conversation. But if you remember it's about impact and that by showing up, you will impact somebody, that really helps you keep going. And it helps you get out of your head about those things that everybody throws out. Oh, your numbers. What are your numbers? That's not the important part.
That's not the important thing. Yeah. It's about you getting out of your shell.
Yeah.
It's about you showing up, because everyone brings their own story. Like you mentioned, everybody has a voice and everybody brings value. Like being a beekeeper, right? Being a cyclist, being this hobbyist. Like I always question, okay, what content can I create that's going to bring value?
Yeah. It's an interesting word, right? Value. Because we perceive value as like, oh, I need to be like giving business tips or this or that or whatever. And yeah, exactly.
So like, how do you even do it? Like you said, okay, you didn't talk, you can count on your two hands how many times you talked about business. And I was like, okay, I want to start creating videos. And I did create a lot of videos and about so many different topics. And then did the 30 days of videos challenge, and I ended up only making 12 videos because I was just overthink about everything that I wanted to share.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to focus on this narrow thing of video production on your mobile phone. Didn't go well because, I just overthink it. I put too much time in the production value and the time that it took to edit all that stuff. I'm like, okay, I've got a full-time job. I got 3 kids. I can't do this.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So you're right. Take your phone out, record, post. Simplest, lowest amount of friction. As user experience designer, you want to create an application that minimizes the amount of friction that you have to go through when you're creating video. Snapchat, when they created that app, you open the app and you're immediately in the camera. Like just press the button, just start recording, and as
Right?
soon as you let go, it's like, all right, post. Right? They made it super easy, and everybody jumped on board. They took away all of the buttons and everything. Like, no, you just swipe to use this application. So, wow.
So let's talk about some tips, right? Because I
Yeah.
think it's like we get to this point where we go, okay, yeah, I gotta need to do this. I'm inspired, and okay, now what? So I'll give you some tips. Now, again, every platform is different.
Hmm.
The beauty about video is that like technologically, you have all these different companies, right? And they build these digital playgrounds, and we as the
Yeah.
kindergartners decide to show up and play, right? It's we have to make the choice. So with a platform like LinkedIn, and I keep talking about LinkedIn just because again, LinkedIn's changed my life so many times along the way,
Hmm.
and that's why I decided to do what I do in terms of creating a business such and I think the thing to remember is that again, showing up is the most important part. But then it's like, okay, great. Well, now I know I need to show up. I know there's 675 million people on LinkedIn. I know that it's a couple percentage points of people that are actually creating content. There's an amazing opportunity to show up. So now what? Okay, so showing up, right? Tip one is show and be
Show
human,
up. Hmm.
right? Show up and be human. And again, you'd sit there and go, well, yeah, why wouldn't I do that anyway? Pull out your phone, do what we talked about. It's not as easy as it sounds,
It's not.
right? So that's tip one. Tip two is engage and support, right? Every one of these companies that's created the digital playground for us to show up and play, it's all about the people, right?
Mm.
Especially LinkedIn. It's all about the people. The heart of the platform is the people. So engaging and supporting is really important. Build community and shine your light bright on others. When I talked about taking it off of you, right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's really important because when you do that, you meet so many amazing people. Now, again, this is cross platforms, but specifically, it's so important to do on LinkedIn because before the role, the title, the job, the brand, the company, we're all human beings with a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So you want to build those relationships with people. So engaging and supporting, building community, and shining light bright on others. That's tip two. And you can do that in different ways. You can do it in the comments. You can do it with your videos, which kind of takes us to tip three, which is create. Now, I said something earlier, which is really important, and I'll say it again,
Yeah.
is that you have a voice in a story that matters and a voice in a story that can positively impact, affect, and inspire another human being's life by showing up on video, by sharing stories, by being you. Why? Because it's all about relatability. Okay, so now great. Okay, well, what do I talk about? Talk about what you're interested in. Talk about what you're excited about. Talk about what you're passionate about. And in the times that we're in, now more than ever, talk about what you're scared about,
Hmm.
right? Because that's relatable. We're
So,
all, yeah, go ahead.
so anything and everything is on
Yes,
the table.
it is. And it always is, Junaid. It's not just now, right? We're in this middle of a pandemic. Everybody's world is turned upside down. Your hair is longer than it's ever been. Your house is completely turned upside down and disheveled. Your kids are running around like lunatics because they can't leave. You know what I mean? Like everything. But that's relatable. We're all growing through
We're
that.
all going through it.
And that's relatable. And so think about it. Whenever you have a conversation with someone or whenever you watch a video, you're always looking for triggers. And I do have a degree in psychology. I'm not going to get all psychobabble on you, but we look for we always have these, what do I have in common things, right? It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh, Janaid
absolutely.
and I both have a salt and pepper beard, although yours is much cooler because it's like this thing, like I want your beard. But but that's it, right? So we're looking for those things. So yeah, no holds barred. I mean, talk about whatever you want. Part of why I said earlier to create a video journal where you're making a video every day for 30 days is because that'll help you get comfortable being comfortable, because when you do, you learn and grow unbeknownst to you at the time. And that's when the magic happens, and that's when you look back and reflect and go say, wow, what a time of growth that I went through, and you didn't even realize it, right? And so when you have those moments, you just, again, you want to keep going, and again, you can say to yourself, I did that. So I always say everyone has their own vibes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned some of them earlier, right? It's like you were a beekeeper, and
Mm-hmm.
you love video, and you're a dad, and
Mm-hmm.
all of these things, right? Those are your vibes, and I usually say five. You can count them on one hand. It's easy,
Yeah.
you can take it with you, and these are your lanes of content. Okay, so it kind of takes us to the next tip, which is about being consistent, which is tip 4. Consistency is key to success. So you want to create a content strategy and a calendar to create a level of consistency that works for you, because when you show up consistently, your tribe knows when you're going to show up. Well, your vibes help you do that, because those are your lanes of content that you can run down. So those I described for you, right? You're a dad, which means you're naturally a leader, the lowest paid parent, the lowest paid leader, lowest paid job in the world. You have it for your entire life. And,
Mm-hmm.
your job is to bring a good human being into this world. And
Yeah.
Lord willing, they'll be able to take care of themselves and take care of you and impact the world. And so these are your lanes of content. Now, when I tell you that business is like 10% of what you should be talking about, I'm going to give you an example, because I think stories are so important. That's what we relate to. I remember along my way in the journey, Miguel Forbes is the chairman of Forbes, and
Mm-hmm.
he got on LinkedIn, and his profile blew up. Like, everybody was connecting with him and wanted to be on the Forbes 30 under 30 and 40 under 40 and all these things, right? And LinkedIn thought there was something wrong, because it blew up right away, and they wouldn't like they froze his account, and he's like, what's going on? Like, I got validated on all these other platforms. Like, why would you think I'm not who I say I am?
Yeah.
And he wound up leaving the platform after a bit. He posted some stuff and then came back, and he said, well, I left because I kept getting blown up by being on all these lists. But he said, I came back because of the people that make this platform what it is. And I was one of the people that he called out, and I didn't get it. He's like, creators and there was a bunch of us in the early days. And I'm like, well, all I'm doing is making videos about, I'm with people, and, we're just having a good time and having fun. And,
Yeah.
again, we weren't talking about business. And that's when I realized that, again, it's people coming together, relatability, all of those things. So that's why I want people to realize that it's such a small percentage of what you can show up and talk about. And the reason is because people do business with people they like and trust. Right. And
I keep hearing that. And some of the points that you just mentioned, it's giving me goosebumps right now. Like, I'm having all sorts of goosebumps and things go in my head. Like, because anytime I'm having a conversation with anybody on my guest, that's my, bring it on the podcast, I talk about myself, talk about what I'm doing, and it never occurred to me that people that are listening to the podcast or watching the videos are looking for that same content.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing too is, right, people have to fall in love with you before they can listen to what you have to say. That's part of the reason why you have to keep showing up. It doesn't just happen, right? I mean, remember, all of these platforms have algorithms that drive who sees what. It's not like if you have a tribe of 10, 20, 500, people, whatever, that they're all going to see you when you show up. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
That's why you keep showing up, because same bat time, same bat channel. When you create a level of consistency, your tribe knows when you're going to show up, right? Whether it's native video or live video.
Yeah.
Right. The more consistent you are in saying this day, this time. Now, I'm not saying you need to make, pre-recorded videos posting every day. You'll burn out. And it'll take time to get back up again, and then you start from ground zero.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's more of that. Okay. Yeah. Hey, I want to example. What's Good Wednesday, Shout Out Saturday, once a week, every week for 116 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. Consistency of what, when, why, your tribe will just automatically know, oh yeah, hey, I got to show up, right? Because I know what this is about. I want to be there. I want to be a part of whatever that it is, right? Which is part of why I recommend creating a series within that.
Mm-hmm.
Find something that you did. You're a beekeeper. You love bees. There's something about it that drew you to that, and that it's were inspired by that. It's in your heart. Like you've got a passion for that. And that's something you could create a series around, right? It's like take everyone through that whole journey. Start out with why, because that's what drives it all, right?
Wow.
And then all the things about it along the way, like you have such a love for it. Why do you have a love for it? Because that's what draws us in. It's like any great movie. It's this incredible roller coaster of a ride, and it's happy, and you're like, oh yeah, this is great, and then you fall and you're in pain, and you're like, no, you'll be okay, get back up, and we're cheering for you, right? And then you get up and you go, and you're struggling, but you keep going, and then you have this climactic, amazing moment, right? And thinking of like the great feel good movies, which I love, they all end good, but it's a struggle, and that's your journey, right? You have to realize it's not going to be wine and roses. It's going to be hard. This isn't easy.
No.
That's why everybody doesn't do it. That's why I said single digit percentages of people that are creating out of millions of hundreds of millions of people. That's why, because you'll start and you'll be like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And then you're like, oh, this sucks. This is hard. No, I'm just going to quit. So many people do that.
Yeah, keep going.
You got to keep going. So, which takes us to the tip 5, which is collaborate, like we're doing right now, right? Incredible things happen when we come together.
Yes.
And I think if you realize, especially in the digital world right now during this pandemic, because you can't go see your friends, you can't go to conferences, you can't go meet with your clients and prospects and partners, you have to find other ways to show up. And the beauty about video in any form or fashion is that the only thing missing is you can't physically reach out and touch the person. You can't smell the person because we don't have smell-o-vision yet. Although I'd be surprised if somebody hasn't created it in the last kind of 4 or 5 months, right? But I mean, think of that, right? It's so powerful. I get on Zoom chats with people and they're like, wow, I feel like I've known you for years because I've seen your videos and your lives and I've been on your shows and whatever. And it's powerful.
It is powerful.
So powerful.
You're right on the nail, because for the past 2-3 months, I joined this Facebook group called Unconventional Leaders, hosted by Heather Parody. And every day at 4 o'clock, we did coffee chats. We put out the Zoom link out, broadcast live to the group, like, hey guys, come on in, we're going to have a chat. And we talked about everything on the table, like how somebody, mental health, physical health, everything, going deep in the mind, talking about all sorts of things. And it just brought us so much closer together. Like we're now a tight-knit, group. And it just felt so good. Like you feel connected to this tribe.
Yeah.
You love what they think, how they think. You, like you said, when you voice your vibe, you attract your tribe.
That's right. And that's the other thing, right? Is that everyone needs to know that you have a tribe sitting out there waiting for you. You just have to show up. And it's so easy. God, it's so easy to sit there and go, I don't know, there isn't, or who's going to care about what I'm talking about or what I'm showing up. Like, but it's true. Like I'm proof in the pudding. Like it's true. Your tribe is literally waiting out there for you. You just have to start and then keep starting and keep showing up. And I think there's a couple of people that said some things really well. Simon Sinek said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, think about it, right? Every brand, like Junaid, like you've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on this incredible technology that you have in your studio, right?
Yeah.
Now you love it because it meets a need. It does something you wanted it to do, but you're also emotionally attached to it. Like it makes you feel a certain way. And that's the thing, right? Like most people aren't going to be seeing this, they're going to be hearing it, but I'm wearing a LinkedIn hat. I have a LinkedIn bottle sitting next to me. I mean, I bleed blue and white, literally. Yeah. And why? Because LinkedIn has changed my life so many times in my 16 and a half years every single day on the platform. Why? Because of the people. And that's the thing. Look at those cool lights. That's the thing, right? Is because that's so cool. I geek out on stuff like that. Like it's about that. It's about the why, which is why I said, know your why, right? Talk about your why. Feel your why comes out of you like it does me. Like it's so remember that. And then Maya Angelou, well, I'll come to that one in a second. I think graduating to where we are because we're locked down we've gone on this roller coaster where now we're locked back down again, and it's worse than it was coming out of the gates.
Yeah.
And it will be. It's just going to happen because we have no way to fix this thing yet. But digitally, if you look at it in transformation and go, okay, well, your smile is now your logo. Your personality is now the business card you'd hand somebody, right, when you meet, and how you leave other people feeling after that experience with you through video, live or native, and native meaning pre-recorded videos that you post. Well, that's not your trademark, right? So, and I was mentioning Maya Angelou, and I think this is great, and it's kind of a segment of something on what she said. And she said, people may forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you make them feel.
Oh.
And that is something that I want you to take with you everywhere. Every time you show up, every time, if you're not inspired in the moment, if you are not passionate about what you're talking about, we're going to feel that.
Yeah.
But if you are passionate about what you're talking about, we are most definitely going to feel that. So it's not about what you say, it's how you emote, it's how you feel, it's how that comes across through the lens, because we can feel that in our hearts. Like we can 100%, we can feel it. So just remember those feels. And if what you're talking about, you're not feeling the vibes, don't make the video. Like,
right. Yeah.
You got, and yeah, go ahead.
You talk about feeling so much in this, and feeling is what makes us human, right? And about 20 years ago, I installed this subwoofer in my car, and my uncle needed to borrow the car. And he came back and he's like, what's that box in the trunk of your car? It's taken more than half your trunk. What's going on? Yeah. It's like, oh, that's a subwoofer. That's a speaker. Like, what? I said, it's a subwoofer. It's a speaker.
Yeah.
My trunk. He's like, but why do you need a speaker in your trunk? And then I said, so you could feel the music.
Yes. Totally. Right? I had one in my car when I was in high school. It was huge. Yeah. It was this clunker, octagonal shaped, huge thing. It took up half the space in the trunk.
Yeah.
But you could feel the bass. Like you could just, it enhanced the music so much, right?
Yes.
And music think about that, right? Music makes us feel things. I guarantee you, everyone that's listening to this can think of a song and associate it to a person and an emotion, and in an instant you remember how you felt in that moment, the smells that you were surrounding you, that just all of it, it just rushes right back over you like this, like a tidal wave, and that's the video does that too, right? That's the effect is, it can really do that to you. So
there's so much awesome stuff here, man. I'm just blown, like my mind is blown. And talking about music, talking about feeling, talking about video, it is known to even cure. Like they did some experiments on people who had Alzheimer's to use music, and when people with Alzheimer's, they listen to music and they dance, they immediately are cured because the brain, the way it connects is powerful.
So story, I'll put it back into my world. Music and dancing, both two things. So I had taken a drug for years to help. It was supposed to be a kind of natural calming mechanism. Well, no, it wasn't a natural calming mechanism. It was meant to calm down my Tourette's. You can't stop them, but it was a dulling effect. Anyway, I had stopped taking the medicine after a couple years and found natural calming mechanisms: music, dancing, and comedy. Now, music, I've been a musician my entire life. I would literally sit in front of the piano for hours when I was a kid in the dark playing, and I felt like I was in another body. And it's because I was entranced and focused on that thing at the moment. Dancing was one of those things, and I look back psychologically and think about this, which is kind of crazy. I always loved dancing because my mom was like, I'm going to teach you how to dance. You're going to love it. All the girls are going to love you. And she was right. It was like, because most guys in the scheme of things, just, not really big on the dancing thing. Girls love dancing. And I loved dancing. And I think I look back and think, wow, I wonder if in a sea of people that are flaring their bodies in all these different ways and ways they wouldn't do if they were just having a conversation or walking down the street with someone, making facial expressions and noises if I felt normal, and see people that felt weird.
Yeah.
Because that was me outside of that, right?
Mm.
But I loved dancing, and then comedy was just one of those things for me where it was. I figured, if people are going to make fun of me, I want it to be on my own terms, or at least try for that.
Yes.
And I loved physical comedians, like Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Sam Kinison, the young Jim Carrey, Robin Williams. I mean, there's so many more.
So many people.
The Three Stooges. I mean, like, and I look back and I'm like, wow, I just realized why I love them, because I could relate to them. I was doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't swearing uncontrollably, which is at a 10 on a scale of Tourette's, violence and vulgarity. I was more like a 6, 7 or something. But yeah. So if you think about it and bring it all together, because music is a part of that. Like, I have music in almost if not every video I make, I put music into it. Whether it's throughout the entire video or it's a bass front and end cap. But yeah, music is incredible. And dancing, like I've danced on LinkedIn and with friends and live, and I have it on my shows. I created something called social distancing, which is literally just, hey, if we can't be together physically in person, we can be socially together, and let's turn this into a positive. And people come on the show and I let them pick their own songs, and we do some dancing together, and it's fun. Fun is important because you remember fun, right?
More than anything else.
That.
Yeah.
And how that makes you feel. So, and I think so. Yeah, go ahead.
And our mind has the natural tendency to delete, feelings of despair and feelings of sadness, or, mistakes or whatever, or I don't know how else to classify it, but yeah, we don't remember, like,
the downers, like those things that we look at as a negative, right? We're like, no. We'll remember the positive, the good, the happy, the good heart feel stuff. And I think that's part of the reason why for my live shows that I incorporated that stuff, because I literally have had people come on my live shows, Junaid, and go, and they said that they were depressed, and they'll come out and they'll reach out to me, and it happens all the time. They're like, I thank you so much for bringing me on the show and making me take the leap to come on the show, because they had never done that as a guest on a show. And then they said, I felt so much better. I had so much fun. I want to do that again. Like, in this world where everything feels like it's crumbling around us, if we can have, my whole intention has been, if somebody can walk away and have one moment and go, God, that was fun, or, oh, I feel better, or not think about the world crumbling around us just for a moment, mission accomplished.
Amen. You're so right. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human, and we want to feel loved and feel happy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then look, at this time, we're all going through not feeling that way.
We are. Absolutely.
It happens to all of us, everybody's, how are you so happy all the time? How are you so positive? Don't get me wrong. Yes, that's how I show up. It doesn't mean I'm not going through my own stuff too.
Oh yeah.
I go through the emotional roller coaster too. It's
just like everyone.
It's a crazy, we're all human.
And it's important too, to have those, to balance, to balance out your mental space.
So important. It's so important. Feel those things when they happen. Release them. Don't push them.
Yes. Don't push them down.
I've done it. Like you just kind of push that stuff away and go, I know, it's okay. Let me just pack this away somewhere and I'll stay up here. Yeah. but if you don't release it, it's going to explode at some point, you're gonna, and that's okay. And it's okay for that to happen too. Just let it release and have a good cry or whatever. And because that's real, it's okay to feel that stuff.
Exactly.
And just let it go. And yeah.
Whew. Brian, it's been so powerful, man. I love this conversation. There's so much heart, there's so much feeling, there's so much intensity and truth to it all. You know, it's just beautiful. Um, I really didn't have to ask any questions. I mean, you just spill everything out, man. It was beautiful. And it all comes from
Sorry,
practice, right?
I do kind of spew a lot.
Which
Yeah.
is
Oh
awesome.
gosh. Yeah. I've been on so many shows and whatnot.
It's
Yeah. Which is also, again, that's why I mentioned the
the
more
more
you
you
get
talk.
on video, yeah, the more you get comfortable being comfortable.
Yeah,
Because on a side, like, I mean, pre-recorded video is start and stop, and 60 seconds, by the way, is your best friend. Something we didn't mention is just because everyone has 60 seconds,
yeah,
especially if you're scrolling through your feed and see lots of people with video. Well, a minute, everyone's got a minute. And,
yep.
but with live video, it's different. With live, like, you want to be live for at least 30 minutes. The longer you talk, the more time you give your tribe to show up.
That's
That
true.
takes time too. So part of that, I guess, a third bonus, and you just, when I say hold your phone up, talk to yourself, do it once a day for 30 days, don't worry about how long, is because when you start to get comfortable being comfortable and talking for extensive periods of time, you have to know how to do that. There's method to the madness. Like, it's important, because, again, live is very different, and you have to be able to adapt, adjust, pivot, and talk for extensive periods of time. And if you're doing it just as a solo show, yeah, you gotta get used to being able to do that. And
Oh
then
yeah.
if you have a show where you bring on guests, it's a whole other dynamic, right? So that's why, that, again, extensive conversations with yourself, and then do Zoom chats with people.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Like, we're doing this, recording over Zoom, and you'll get to see people and have those conversations. You're just having a conversation. If you
Amen.
remember that all the time, you're just having a conversation. People would come on and that want to come on a show. They're literally in the comments engaging, and I'm like, "Hey, you should come on the show." And as I'm doing the show, they're like, "Oh no, I can't." I'm like, "No, you can." And I'm talking to them as they're typing. I'm like, "No, you can do it. We're just having a forget everyone that's watching wherever it is. It's just us having a conversation.
Yeah,
You want to have a
exactly.
chat? Come on, let's have a conversation. Let's dance a little bit. Have some fun." And they're like, and they finally come on and like, "Oh my god, I'm here. I can't believe this." I'm like, "Yeah, so you're fine. We're just having a chat, right?" So if you always try and remember that too, no matter whether you're just doing a video yourself or you're going live or with someone, that you're always just having a conversation. That's why I said tape someone on the back of your phone that you're comfortable with, and just think of, "Oh yeah, I'm just talking to them," or "I'm talking to Janae, I'm talking to Brian," whatever, and that makes it easier. And then,
Oh my
because,
God, it does.
if you're introverted, yeah, you kind of have to prompt yourself, which is okay.
Yeah.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable. It'll be all right. By the way, anybody that, like, if you want to take the leap in a video and whatnot, or you want to get comfortable, you want to throw yourself on the deep end, so to speak. Like, I always say, people can come on my show anytime they want,
Anytime.
both of my shows. Anytime, literally. All you have to do is show up. The link will be in the comments. My producer will bring you in the green room. You come on the show. Janae's been on the show a bunch of times. Like,
Yep.
you just show up, and in my case, it's just, you show up and we have a talk and we have some fun. I mean,
It's
it's
awesome. I mean,
nothing. Yeah.
it's beautiful. I'm gonna let my kids in the room. Hold on.
Awesome. It's like, "Dad, let me in."
I'll just unlock the door to see if anybody shows
Awesome. Love the Avengers shirt, by the way.
up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's my Musa who picked a song on our on our
Yes.
Wednesday shows.
Musa.
You remember, Mr. Brian? So,
Buddy.
Brian, I have some questions for you.
Yeah, hit me.
All right. And what is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
What? Say it one more time. What is the what?
What is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
Oh, well, actually, I'll tell you the one hobby that I'm glad I got into.
Yeah.
Oh, it's your other baby.
It's a little baby.
Hi. They're so cute. Oh my gosh, they're adorable. The one hobby that I'm most glad that I did get into was music.
Nice.
Because music, again, music changed my life. I've met so many amazing people and I'd said to my son too, early days, like when he was in 5th grade trying to instruments, like, this is going to be so good for you. Like, just take a stab at it, because you'll meet so many amazing people along the way because you have this thing in common. You know?
God.
Welcome to parenthood.
Welcome to parenthood and podcasting.
Parenthood and podcasting. That's a show right there.
That's the show.
It's like Joy McAdams. Joy started a show with her little boss babe.
I know, that was so awesome.
Great.
Okay, you want to say hello?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. She's so cute.
She just started swimming this week and she loved it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So she's like, here's my swimming clothes. Can I go today?
Oh, you want to go swimming? You like swimming. It's fun, huh? Did she have water wings?
No. So I was holding her in the water with me. Yeah. So
awesome.
It's parent one. So,
yeah.
And this is Musa.
Yeah, it's Musa, yeah. So music. I love music because, again, it allows you to meet people. And, again, the vibe that happens when you're playing together is incredible.
It's incredible. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Next one up, what did you want to be when you were a child?
Oh, my gosh. What did I... Normal? I wanted to be normal. In my case, I wanted to be normal. Yeah, kind of a different answer I think most people would give. I wanted to blend in. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think all sorts of things. Yeah, I mean, that's the first answer that comes to my mind. Yeah.
Do we watch TV?
That's.
Do we watch TV?
That's a different answer for sure, man.
Yeah, you can watch TV.
You can watch TV, yeah.
Let's watch TV together. What are we gonna watch?
What are we gonna watch, buddy? Curious George.
No.
Yeah. Curious George is awesome. What do you want to watch?
Disney Cars.
Disney Cars. Cars are good. I love Cars.
So that's thanks for asking that question, because that goes to the next question. What's your favorite movie or TV show?
Yeah, my favorite movie is got to be Goonies. Like, I literally can recite every line of the movie. I've watched it so many times. It's still my favorites. I played it for my kids. Like, they wound up reciting it. It was just kind of a funny moment when it happened years ago. But yeah, I mean, I have lots of movies that I love, but Goonies definitely is one of my all-time favorites. Oh gosh, I was just gonna say it. Willy Wonka, The Chocolate Factory, was also another one that I loved.
My son just mentioned that his favorite movie is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Into Spider-Verse. Yeah, I'm a big Avengers fan. Like, I know you are too.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, I was in just talking about movies. Years ago, I was in a grocery store and I was getting my wife some coffee. It was like a Starbucks within a grocery store or whatever, and relatively early in the morning, and standing in line, and there's like a father and son behind me, little guy, probably Musa's age, and I'm just can kind of see them in my peripheral, and they're just talking, and then they're looking at me, and they're talking, and they're looking at me, and the dad goes, "I'm so sorry to bother you, but my son wants to know, are you Iron Man?" And I would get it a lot because it would happen. It would, it's funny. I mean, it would happen a bunch. And I kind of turned around and looked at him, and, it was funny. It was really funny. Took my son to see all the Marvel movies. We actually dressed up to see, which one was it? it had to be one of the Avengers one because Captain America was in it. And so I took him to Toys R Us and we literally I would just Iron Man with the total like noise making and helmet that moved and lit up, and he was Captain America, and we went to the movies that way.
That's awesome.
It was great. Yeah.
Well, what movie would you choose if you got to play a character in it?
What movie would I choose if I got to play a character? Wow. That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, again, I am a huge Avengers fan, and I love
go play Iron Man.
Yeah, I love RDJ. I mean, like, yeah, it's he's awesome. What an incredible story
he is.
Has. Like,
yeah, just amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I actually went back and watched Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's just amazing. Like,
this is what I'm talking about. Like, here you go. This is real world. Real world.
Check it out.
You're good, Papa.
So she wants to watch. Which one are you gonna watch?
Incredibles.
The who?
Incredibles?
Spider-Man Incredibles.
Oh, in Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse. That's what you're gonna watch.
That's exactly what that sounded like. Yes. Lisa.
You want to watch Cars 3? Okay, we'll put it on.
That's a good one.
That's a real good one.
I went to the premiere of that one in Los Angeles, and that's the European one, right?
No, the European one.
Yeah,
the first two.
That's the second one.
Yeah.
The third one I remember. The third one is where he becomes a mentor. Yes. He loses his mojo and thinks he can't get it back, and then yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
It was very deep.
I mean, they were all really good. Yeah, it was, right?
Is where he goes to Radiator Springs, even though he's supposed to go on to a race, and whoever goes to California first gets to have the Dinoco.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right, Musa. Exactly. Yes, they get to be a part of Dinoco.
Yeah, they want to be in part of Dinoco, and then and the third one. They're like, all right, let's have a conversation, and Cruz Ramirez gets to be, go with the Dinoco team.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, really? With the Dinoco?
No?
Okay. No.
And on number one, I think, Vader gets to go on a helicopter. Dinoco,
hey, Musa.
Helicopter.
That's right, Musa. I can do a pretty good Mater. Do you want to hear it? All right, here, wait, all right. Mater, my name's Mater, like Mater, fought the Tuh. This is my best friend, Lightning McQueen.
That was really good.
I've only done that on one other show, so I've done it on my live show, but only one other podcast. Yeah.
Nice. I'm honored. Yeah, you can watch Spider-Man. What if we combine the two movies together? What if? Oh my God! What if
Lightning McQueen was a car that was a spider car?
Spider McQueen.
Spider McQueen. Oh, I think that's gonna be something.
And then Lightning McQueen is gonna be black, and then he's gonna have a red spider.
I think that's a pretty. What if you had the Spider-Verse Spider McQueen?
The Cars version of Avengers, right? Like the Cars are different characters from Avengers.
Different characters, yeah. That'd be pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
Awesome idea.
I love it.
All right, man.
Can I watch it?
Yeah, you can watch it now. Go ahead.
No, but you need to put it on.
Okay, I'll go
Hey,
put it.
You gotta do it, Dad. You gotta come watch.
And I'll come watch with you. Let's Mr. Brian go, okay?
No.
Or should we watch?
I want to come watch too, Musa. Can I come watch with you?
Oh yeah. Let's use that.
I
I've got a TV over here.
think it'll take me a little while to get there, but
I know, right?
I'll be watching in spirit.
Yeah, you'll be watching. Actually, they do have, the plug-in on Netflix where you could watch movies together. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's cool. See,
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah, you could. It's a Chrome extension, so you both launch Netflix together. You press play and you pick who you want to watch with, and one of the persons becomes the person who pressed the play, and then you're like, oh, I got to use the restroom. Let me pause the movie. It pauses for both people.
How cool is that?
It's pretty insane.
Does it actually show you? Does it show you on screen too? Does the camera orient it?
I haven't played it. It doesn't show you the video of the people. You just watch the same movie at the same time.
Yeah,
just like back in the days, you'd watch a movie and you're on the phone with your friend, right?
Totally.
Something like that. We did something like that.
That's awesome. I'm gonna let you guys go because you definitely have it.
Brian, thank you so much, man. I'll be sure to plug in your links on the show notes. This was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And, dude, yeah, this was awesome.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, if anybody, look, if there's a free LinkedIn Jumpstart Masterclass that a buddy of mine and I put together. Definitely will give you the link to that. It's LinkedInMasterclass.thinkific.com. It's 15 free lessons for any newbies on LinkedIn getting started. And then anybody that's got any questions about how to LinkedIn video or LinkedIn Live for you, for your business, you want to talk video strategy, I'd love to chat. So you'll find a link for a free 15-minute consult that we can get together and talk through stuff. And like I said, anybody that wants to hop on one of my shows and be a guest, it's awesome. You'll have a great experience. It'll help you with the nerves, and it's absolutely free. You can just come on and enjoy and have fun and enjoy and have a good experience. So.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Brian. This was a ton of fun. We'll talk soon.
All right. Sounds great. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to Hacks and Hobbies. You can find additional information on the guest today on their website, hacksandhobbies.com. Please feel free to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on upcoming interviews with amazing guests.